Hi everyone, this is a really exciting milestone, your first graduate job, the start of your working life. In this short video, I'm going to go through a few do's and don'ts to make sure that you make a good impression. It goes without saying that it can all be a bit nerve-wracking, your first time in a place you haven't been before and where you won't know at least 99% of the people. The good news is that you're not alone. Even those of us who've been working for years and years wouldn't feel totally at ease in the first days of a new job. In any case, a few nerves can be good for us actually. They keep us on our toes and make sure we stay alert to what's going on around us. Okay then, preparation beforehand is key to making this first day a success. The first thing is make sure that you know your route to wherever it is you're working and you've figured out how long it's going to take you to get there. Check it out on Google Maps and organise to get a lift or how to get public transport and give yourself plenty of time. First impressions count, so don't be late, particularly on your first day. The second thing is what is it that I'm going to wear? Well, wear something you think is going to fit in with whatever work environment you're in, that it's comfortable and that it makes you feel good about yourself. A simple business casual look covers most bases if you're not sure. But also think about the industry you're going into. What you wear to the first day of work at a technology-focused startup would be very different than, say, that in an established law firm, and different again if you're going to start in an art centre. The other thing is that if you're working remotely, check the instructions you've been given before you're due to start. Test your equipment in advance and set up your email and online communications tool as soon as possible. The other preparation you can do beforehand is to review the notes you put together from the time you did the interview. So you need to familiarise yourself with a job description, with the people that you're going to be working with, who they are and what responsibilities you're going to have. So a good thing to do would be to check out the company's LinkedIn pages for insights into the culture and ethos of the organisation, what company projects they're at the moment, the structure of the organisation, and of course the people who work there. Also, it's very useful if you can find out if there's any TU grads already there. Google Alerts is very interesting too and very useful, because what that does is it trawls the internet for content and is a really quick way of finding out if this organisation is in the news and why. Well, I mentioned first impressions a couple of times, and I suppose one of the really important ones is that when you arrive at the building first, it's really important to be courteous and polite to everybody you meet. We have had feedback from employers that it drives them mad when employees who've just started are having full-blown personal conversations on their mobiles in the office. Keep these conversations to when you have some private time if you're on a break. And also, the other thing which is really good is if you reach out to others, if they seem to be really busy, ask them if you can help. An act of consideration like this will really make people remember you. Now I want to talk about a few tips for success, while you start in the first few days of your new job. When you get there, smile, greet everyone, even if you don't feel like it. They'll probably know it's your first day and will really want to help you. Know what you're going to say to people when they ask you those predictable questions about who you are and what you're going to be doing in your new role. You can prepare all of this beforehand. The other thing on that is make an effort to remember the names of people, but especially those people that you're going to be working closely with. It's obviously worthwhile to build up friendly and supportive relationships at work, particularly with your colleagues who've also recently started. All the psychological research says that a good, friendly work environment is one of the biggest factors in maintaining productivity and job retention. So you have to play your part in making sure that it's a good work environment. Developing a good relationship with your boss too will also help you thrive at work and get the most out of your role. So try to figure out as soon as you can what's their best communication style, and then mimic that when you're giving them information or communicating with them. The other thing is networking. Obviously start conversations with your colleagues. Ask for the tips, tricks and advice that your co-workers wish that they'd known on their first day. And as always, it's important to be polite and appreciative, as I've said earlier, but also authentic. Obviously, when you start a new job, it's important to be as organised as you can, even if it doesn't come naturally to you. Your first day is the one day when your desk is actually clean and empty. So take advantage of the quieter moments in these first few days to create to-do lists, email lists and calendar appointments. It can take a bit of time to figure everything out and adapt to the workplace culture. Little things like where and when to get coffee, finding your way around the building, what people do at lunchtime and whatever. Rather than ask questions every few minutes, take a few notes and then follow up later with your workmates. They'll be more willing to show you the way, but won't have time to spoon feed you everything because they'll have their own work to do. The first few months in any job, there's a huge learning curve, and to be successful, you need to be communicating well with your colleagues and manager to ensure you're on the right track. So take their feedback and take on board their suggestions for improvement as you go along. Likewise, if they ask for your feedback, be fair and honest. You were recruited in part for your views, so when appropriate, it's good to air them. No matter how much we prepare beforehand, we build up expectations and scenarios about starting the job and imagine things are going to be a certain way. But then, surprise, surprise, it's not like that at all. The thing is, to make your job a success, we have to deal with the unknown and the challenges that are in front of us. But in doing that, we're developing the flexibility to use our knowledge in different ways and developing a new set of skills. So when you've established yourself, think about taking on work and projects, even if it's not expected to you. Stretch yourself. Show your manager that you're happy to rise to a challenge and not stick to just what's in front of you. Okay, the other thing I want to talk about is, the things to avoid. And one of them is, don't try to remember everything. Go easy on yourself. You're not going to remember everything and nobody expects you to. Not only can it be a bit overwhelming, but it can be really tiring trying to remember everything. Okay? Because with time and practice, you will come to grips with everything that's going on. The second thing is about having there's no point having a bad attitude. Remember that no matter how qualified you are, even if you got first place in your class in college, you're actually there to learn. So don't judge and make statements about procedures not being done the way you've learned them in college, especially when you start first. It really rubs up people the wrong way. You need to show a keen understanding about the way the organisation does things themselves. Once you've established yourself, you can always make suggestions about efficiency or creativity or something like that later on, or if you're asked about it specifically. But just be careful and manage those first few relationships very, very carefully. The other thing is that don't compare yourself to others. It's a terrible trap. You might feel that your colleagues are getting through loads of work, but if they're there for a long time, of course they will, because they're used to it. If you've been recruited for a particular job, there's a reason for that. The organisation clearly thinks that you're able for it. I know it doesn't necessarily stop you from feeling like you're not, but again, with a bit of patience and perseverance, you can pick up their tricks and in some cases, maybe come up with better solutions to things. Don't dwell on mistakes. You're bound to slip up and make a few mistakes in your first few weeks, and that's fine. It'll provide a really good learning experience for you. Don't fret over it too much, and certainly don't let it stop you from taking on new challenges. Okay? The other thing is about office politics. If your colleagues try to lure you into saying things about other people in the office that you're really not comfortable with, try and remain polite, but don't get involved. It's never okay to drag people down in an attempt to sort of curry favour or get closer to others. So avoid office politics wherever you can. And the other thing is that make sure you don't take all the credit for something if other people have been involved. Give out credit when it's due, and this will stop you from stepping on other people's toes. So remember, it's not just your work, it's everyone's. Okay then, just to summarise the points we've been talking about in this video, prepare as much as you can beforehand in terms of getting there, the practicalities, your clothes, and as much as you can about the organisation and the people involved. Be friendly to everybody. A good attitude and authentic relationships are really crucial. And, you know, they can be very creative in terms of your own work too. Try to develop a routine early on to help you to organise your work. Only ask questions that you can't easily find the answer to yourself, okay? You don't want to be bothering other people too much. Things are never going to be as you expected them, so it's important that you learn to be flexible, and it's an extra skill that you're developing as well. Don't try to remember absolutely everything, because you just won't. And the last thing is, don't get sucked into office politics. Okay? I want to wish you the best in your new job. It's a fantastic time for you, and good luck with everything.